Alex Kllanxhja. I'm the founder and CEO of Pipeline Autopsy.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
So give me a cloud level flyover on what Pipeline Autopsy does.
Well, honestly, man, I started out working with CRMs and sales pipelines. The couple of suppliers, the brewers that I'd worked with, we were small and we were really just trying to figure those things out. Oskar Blues has grown into a giant now and sold the monster. And I think I was the 10th or 11th rep with them. Back when we all got in the same room and Dale would come in on his bike, and show up. I got a handwritten card from him and $100 gift card when my son was born. So that's how tight a crew it was back in the day. But I noticed.
I'm going to pause you real quick to connect right off the bat because I didn't know anything about Oskar Blues. So I sold Oskar Blues was number one. My first craft beer was Old Chub.
Nice.
Like one of the first craft beers, and then I worked at Breakthru Beverage. Started out like 20 years ago, and Dale and them came down and launched in Pennsylvania with Origlio. So I got to meet those guys and work with them. Yeah. So Oskar Blues has been a part of my life for a long time.
Yeah, they're the ones who really got me into the craft scene. That's actually the only job I actually applied for in the industry. Every other role I've had, I was headhunted. So
nice.
And it was the one job that after I left, I was like kicking myself for leaving. So there.
I've told the story a couple times here but I'll say it again because I think it's been a year or two. When we were in Philadelphia working for the wholesaler, it was there were suits and everything like that, and everybody was very buttoned up, and that's how you operated as the wholesaler and the sales team. And when we launched Oskar Blues, they had this video, which maybe you were in it. It was their promotional video, like introducing the company. And it was like at the end, we were like a company that was like, drug tested and all kinds. It was a union house and everything like that. And we're there, and the owner and everybody's in their suits. There's about 60 people in the room, and Dale and them come out with like construction boots and shorts and like cargo shorts, and then they're like, "We don't want to tell you how we are. We're just going to show you everybody." The funniest part was it's like the video was like them going all around the facility and introducing to people, but it wasn't corporately shot. It was like very much a phone. But the ending was the funniest part, and it made everybody cringe. Was like not us, but all the higher ups. At the end, it was like they opened a closet and they're like, "What's going on in here?" And it was like 4 employees just ripping bongs in the closet. Yeah, I was like, "This is a brand I can get behind." So they got a sense of humor, man.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so my last name is Kllanxhja. It rhymes with ganja, right? So, like all my merch, all my POS, all my samples, everything I would order, they would write the word ganja on the box. So like I would go pull up to my distributor house, that is all buttoned up, drug tested, all that, just like you were saying. And I'm picking up giant boxes with ganja written all over it. So yeah, they definitely had a sense of humor.
Well, let's talk about since then. So you start out with them. You're one of the first employees. I got a million stories about what it was like cultivating that path. I mean, that's like a machete in the safari moment right there. When you guys, not only that, something I just wrote an article about on my Substack recently was a lot of times what you and I can commiserate on was everybody selling craft beer in cans today. That's a given. That's just an expectation. When we were selling Oskar Blues, when it first came out, we were getting laughed out of places because they're like, "Why the fuck would I pay that much for a canned beer? That's Pabst Blue Ribbon or that's Coors Light."
100%. Yeah, I mean, the first craft in a can, really, that was a big selling point for me. That's what I used. I was like, man, you could take this everywhere. You could take this to the lake. You could take it to the river. You could take it to the beach. I mean, nobody's going to get mad at you for having a can. Plus, packing it out, you crush it up, you could have 100 of them in your backpack. So, it was unique at the time. And it was pretty awesome to watch the can revolution that Dale pretty much started. I mean, now bottling your beer, if you're a craft brewer and you're only bottling, you are losing out.
Yeah, it's something that it's taken for granted. Was walking in that first year, especially because we were selling it right in the jump and everything like that. I think it was them or the first, and then shortly after it was like Sly Fox, I think out of Philadelphia, kind of came out in the cans shortly after. And it was tough selling. It was really tough to sell it, and then it was tough to educate the consumer about that price point, because for whatever reason, in the very beginning of the canned craft beer, everybody just rigidly kept beer, sub-premium beer as a can, and they wouldn't understand the price point differentials and stuff.
Yeah. It was, I mean, it was definitely, it was groundbreaking at the time.
So you were in the CRM space. So that's in the brewing area, that's a whole, what was it like that got you into it? And obviously you're one of the few that saw the value in it, rather than like keeping Excel files and short call notes, because every sales guy that's out there thinks he's going to remember every conversation, but 2 days in and 30 stops later, I mean, I still do it today. I pull 20 cold doors a day, and I have to get on HubSpot and put everything in immediately, because I know myself, like by 5 p.m., I don't remember 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And it's not because they were insignificant. It's just a lot of conversations that you have throughout the course of the day.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I think so before CRM was even like a thing, but definitely before Oskar Blues had it, I had downloaded, I think I paid $9.99 on the Apple App Store for it. It was just a CRM app. I still have it, actually. I don't know if it's been updated in years, but I always keep it because it was my first. And it was just called CRM. That's what it was called.
I remember that.
Yeah, so this was before CRM was like a thing in the industry. But I covered such a large geographical territory that, like, and I smoked a lot of pot in high school and college, man. So like, memory, eventually you develop those relationships, and you don't need a note, you don't need anything. You walk in and tell them their dog's name, their kid's name, like their favorite food, their sports team. Eventually, all these things but when I was just getting started, I started off, I was a bar manager for years and years, and I got headhunted to go work for Miller Coors, but I only did that for 4 months before I went for that Oskar Blues job. So like, I hadn't cut my teeth in the sales world at all. And so,
the Longmont facility.
Yeah. So I did Western Colorado for him.
Okay.
So I covered basically Glenwood Springs West, all the way down to Durango.
Ooh,
everything.
That's some windshield time right there, man.
Yeah, a lot of windshield time. Over 30,000 miles a year every year for sure. But yeah, at first I just wanted to make sure I remembered everybody, and eventually I had worked this same territory for Tivoli Outlaw, for RNDC, for Breakthru. So, I knew all the players eventually. So, but the CRM is crucially important. And I've been on both sides of it, been the manager trying to enforce it, and I've been the rep trying to dodge it. And really that's a system problem. That's not the person, because the CRM should be there. That should be your personal assistant. That should be your buddy. That shouldn't be like the drag at the end of the day, or like, God damn it, I got to fill this out before I walk in or after I walk out or whatever. Like, it shouldn't be like that. It should be a partner. So that's really why I wanted to get started with Pipeline Autopsy, because everywhere I've been, there has been a CRM that is not working, or at least not doing what it should. Right. So there's a need for that. But as I've been doing this and the more conversations I've had, it's turned out to be more of a consulting gig. My 14 years in the industry, all three, if you go food and bev, it goes to like almost 30 years. Because I managed restaurants and bars. So I did that side of it. I even worked cooler door at a liquor store when I was in college. So, I've really done all three tiers. But yeah, that experience. And then launching chains. I launched wine in chains in Colorado. So like dealing with the Target, Walmart, Sprouts, Whole Foods, dealing with all those buyers and those program leads. It was a huge experience. And I'm a mom and pop person. I like the mom and pop restaurants. I like the little liquor stores. I like to support the locals. And so I was a little hesitant to take that job, but I'm really glad I did. It was a huge experience. And it's come in handy. And it turns out that companies will pay for that experience. So, so like my Pipeline Autopsy, I'm still happy to do CRMs and pipelines and help with that, but it's kind of evolved into more of a fractional VP kind of role.
That's awesome. So what types of brands do you currently work with, and are just alcohol, or are you in the various adult beverage categories now?
Yeah, I'm kind of working in all the beverages right now.
Nice.
So I'm talking with a hemp-based THC brand. I'm talking with a New Zealand-based wine brand. I'm talking to an Armenian gin brand. I'm talking to some Mexican agave spirits brands. So it's kind of all over the map. And I was originally thinking I'd do all of CPG, but really my experience is in beverage, especially in the 3-tier system. But yeah, my grandpa started the first Italian wine importer in Denver back in the 80s. And I was kind of raised by him. So I've kind of been in it my whole life, and I kind of have a passion for it.
I can tell, man. And that's when did you start Pipeline Autopsy?
I started in January.
Awesome, man. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, this is so cool. Now, I love the fact to talk to somebody so fresh. And all right, so now I got a million questions. So working in the industry for so long, and now everything's focused on you. Now, I'm solopreneur the last 17 years, but I'm still figuring it out. So
Right.
I try to tell people, like, they're like, oh, you must have these systems and this and that. I'm like, not when you work in a regulated industry in the adult beverage category. Like, I have hemp, I have this. I'm going to DC, I go to Harrisburg, I'm doing all the legislative stuff. It's like you're some of it's selling and some of it's consulting, some of it's market development work, but it's constantly evolving. Are you a solopreneur, or do you have a team under you now?
No, I'm 100% on my own. So
Sweet.
yeah,
So
figuring it out as I go.
Exactly. So when you're doing, and I'm still doing the same thing. I have a couple of contractors that I bring in, but I'm still 100% owner, solopreneur for everything that I do. That's why I still edit and prospect and book guests for this too. But I like also that you said about the independent thing, and I was resistant to that as well. Like leaving I didn't leave independence ever. I'm still doing it. I'm actually on the road right now in a hotel room, on the road doing the same thing, working with breweries and retailers across Pennsylvania. When you do the chain thing though, and this isn't to speak ill of it, it's actually the opposite, is like, did it feel like it was like, well, that's just easy because you go in there and once you pitch it, you're in 700 locations. You're like, I'm doing the real work because I'm going to door to door, opening up individual points of distribution.
Yeah, God, I would say maybe to somebody that has no idea about the business,
Yeah,
they would say that chain grocery would be easy. It is not.
that's what I wanted everybody to hear that.
Yeah, it is absolutely not. They are so high demand. You have to be on point with these chains. I mean, sure, you could open up 4,000 doors, right? Or whatever, 18. What did I just saw a company, they got a Walmart deal, I think 1,300 plus doors. Yeah, once you get that open, great. They don't have to keep you. And you better show up for them. And they are demanding. Walmart, definitely on the top of demanding list. Kroger's right up there too. I really liked working with the Target people. I enjoyed working with everybody, honestly, but it is not just plug and play and go.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to maintain that relationship. You have to maintain your shelves. You have to maintain your merchandising, your marketing. You have to be on the ball to keep those chains. And a lot of times for the smaller, these up and coming brands, pre-acquisition or whatever, that do land these deals, I don't think they have any idea of the scope of, I mean, some do, of course, and I'm not talking, this is more just generalities, but yeah, cool. You signed the deal. Now, do you have the back office and infrastructure to maintain that deal? Are you going to put more SKUs out there? Is Target going to run your stuff for more than a year? Like you've got to have some infrastructure. You got to nurture the relationships.
I think there's a hidden cost too that a lot of people don't realize too. Like not that anybody's deceiving anything from a hidden cost, but they're like, oh, we got in. Yeah, you got in, but now you got tastings, you got labor, you got, different activations you need to do. You got shelf talkers you need. If you're lucky and you got an end cap, you might have some buybacks, some price promotions. And I think that's another thing that in this industry, especially the newer brand founders really overlook that.
Yeah.
And they want those points of distribution. They want the scoreboard, but they don't realize the capital that's needed to truly stay in for multiple years in the future.
Sure. Yeah. And then, I didn't mention slotting fees and all of the, I mean, there's hidden costs. It's not just, we got the target contract, booyah, money in the bank. It is, you got the contract. There's a lot of work to do and some money to be changed hands. So, there's a lot of, and I won't work with companies that I don't align on values with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm real big into like giving back to the community. I'm big on sustainability. I'm big on using quality ingredients and, not cutting corners and just not being a shitty person, good people. I want to help. I want to work with them. There has been 2 brands now that I just flat out refused to work with because our values didn't align. And it's a shame because I think they had a good product, but
I fired a laundry list or a scroll of brands in my history, and it's never vindictive. It's always that.
Yeah.
It's always because it's just not in alignment.
Yeah.
And whether it's misaligned expectations, constant misunderstandings, or sometimes deceitful behavior, you know what I mean? And I have a 0 tolerance policy for it. You know what I mean? Like I'm so vulnerable with my clients with my own mistakes that I expect the same from them. Because the only way we can fix anything is to address that vulnerably and not hiding and being egotistical about anything.
100%. Yeah. And the other thing is if I'm out there working for your company, repping your company, and you're feeding me garbage and I'm out there regurgitating garbage, like you're killing my brand too. So thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a passion, I want to be able to get behind you, so. And I think that's what's really elevated my work is having the passion for the brands I've worked for.
That's the number one thing is I always tell people it's passion and purpose. Like when I was a brand manager at the distributor, I mean, you guys, when we were deciding on brands from like 2010 to 2017, it was a flood. I mean, it was like 7 a.m. every day. Somebody's coming in with a growler, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., duct tape on the growlers, all that stuff. And I would always say to them exactly what you just said. I'd be like, what is the principle and passion behind this? Because if you're not selling, like if it's not pulling and you don't have any principle and passion, or the reverse, if you don't have principle and passion and we all of a sudden hit a home run and you're just scrambling the money and you're not even focusing on building the brand and expanding it, every effort is worthless.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, really, we all need the money to survive, right? But if money isn't your only motivator, then I think you have a better chance of success. If you're only chasing the dollar, you might as well hang it up.
And there's no short-term, long-term in beverage. It's all long-term. And that's what I think a lot of people don't realize too, is you think you're going to become a millionaire in 12 months, when in actuality, you're going to give up a couple $100,000 in the first year, and then you're going to maybe make it up in year 3 and 4.
Right.
And so you got to be able to stay in business for 3 to 4 years to be able to make that return.
Absolutely. I mean, with anything, right? You got to put some money into it, and then there are those unicorn brands that they're out there for 6 months and they get acquired by Sazerac for $1 billion or whatever, but that's just like content creation or whatever. It's like that one guy hits a viral, got lucky. And then there's people that do it for 20 years and haven't hit a single viral video or whatever. It's the same in the industry. Chances are you're going to have to work at it for years.
Anytime in discovery that I would ask them what their 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, I don't do big, long things. I just kind of keep it year by year. If at any point between 0 and 5, your goal is an exit, I didn't bring them in.
Right.
Because every time within 30 days, they're like, where's the ROI? Where's the ROI? And I'm like, guys, this isn't how this works. It's a cultivation. It's a gardening. It's not sniper hunting.
Absolutely. And that's one of the first questions I ask too when I do a call is, is acquisition on your mind? Because I mean it is, but I want to know, how close are you thinking to it?
How realistic is your optimism?
Like, are you hoping for it next month? Are you realistic and thinking 5 to 7 years? I mean, what are we doing here?
And the next piece is they show their books, so I know whether it's a need or a want.
Right. And that is one thing. Capital is another thing that I ask right away. Usually, what are we looking at here financially? Because you got to have money to back your brand.
So let me go to Gibby, and everybody's very vulnerable in this. So feel free to paint this picture however you want. The moment you decided, after all those years of working within these businesses in the industry, You're like, I'm going to take the chance on myself and I'm going to invest in myself. Like, what was that? And what was going on in your life, and where were you when the light bulb came and when the pen to paper started?
Um, so like I said, I'd been headhunted for almost every role except for the Oskar Blues role, and Breakthru. My last major role was with Breakthru Beverage. They only asked me 3 questions in the interview: how much money do you need? Are you going to put in notice? And when can you start? Were the only 3 questions they asked me in the whole interview. I was like, damn, like they want me, right? And I was taking on, that's when I took on the chain national accounts role, and it was something completely new to me in the industry. Like the industry wasn't new, but that side of it was. And I was a little hesitant because I didn't want to piss off all the independent liquor, because in Colorado you couldn't sell wine except in the independent liquor stores, right? So that was a huge part of the independent liquor stores business. And they were all against wine and chain. And so 10 years of developing relationships in independent liquor stores, and then I go work for the chain side. I was a little hesitant to burn some bridges, some relationships and things like that. And I tried hard to foster some of them. Some of them were really, really pissed that I took that job, which is unfortunate because I definitely still want everyone to succeed, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't actually vote for wine and chains. I voted against it, and then I took the job, right? So it's almost selling your soul or whatever. But no, it was a good educational path for me. But to get to your question, I did that for a full year for Breakthru, and I fucking knocked it out of the park. Excuse my language. And I don't like to float my own boat. I don't pat myself on the back very often, but I killed it for them. I got a bevy award. I don't know if you know what that is, but Breakthru, they give out bevies every year. It was my first year with them. I got a bevy. I got one of the 4 that they gave away for our region. So I did a good job. Then that's when, consolidation started happening a couple years ago, but everything started shrinking. Corporate, all the big suppliers, Gallo especially, everyone started squeezing down, and Breakthru is no different. And they just did it again this year, but they decided to hand me independent beer on top of chain wine, which I was already doing chain beer, but they handed me independent beer, which pretty much doubled my workload.
Yeah, it's not the same buyer.
Yeah, it doubled my workload, if not more than that. And they didn't offer me a single penny more. And that burnt me out because that fried me. It put me in a bad place with them, because it's like, yeah, you guys just spent hundreds of dollars on this little crystal award for me and had this little ceremony. That doesn't pay the bills. That doesn't, and you did a great job. Here's a whole bunch more work and no more compensation. Like that really scraped me wrong. And so I just thought, I just put pen to paper and was like, man, these companies are looking for you. Like, your work speaks for yourself, because everybody sees what you've been doing out here and then they want to hire you. Just go out and try it. I didn't really have anything to lose. I lost my wife to cancer in 2020.
Sorry to hear that.
Mother of my child. And, I just got sick of working for the man. And I know that there are so many good people out there making a good product that maybe they only know their product, or they only know their ingredients, or they only know their clientele, but they don't know the back office stuff, and they need the help, and they can't afford a $200,000 CFO, or, I can jump in for a couple months, do some hard work for you, get some things done, and get you rolling. Yeah, I want to help out. I don't want to work for the man, and I want to help good people succeed.
I'm going to give you 2 things in there. Is I want you to, after doing this for such a long time by myself, being a solopreneur, I missed a lot of opportunities because of humility, because I wanted to overly be humble. After this conversation, I want you to step it up on that. Don't sell yourself short, man. Don't be egotistical. Don't be, flashy and all that stuff, but own what you've done for other people, and continue to say exactly what you just said, because that's the key. Is you're not looking to be the man. You're looking to help people.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's going to cost money to do it, but it's not costing what it would cost to have an employee. And I think you're exactly right too, because a lot of people don't think about all the other stuff. Like even just a street rep, let's say for independence, people don't realize that like that's $100,000 in 12 months, no matter what, if you had an employee minimum. That's not even including like the car, the insurance, like all that stuff, and bonuses. And exactly. And I'll connect you because it sounds like we do a lot of similar stuff between strategy and market development. And we offer a fraction of that. And we're able to do that because we have bundled portfolios of brands. Right. And sometimes brands will be like, "Oh, can you give me some love? You're not spending enough love." I'm like, I try to explain people, when you walk in a portfolio, you're getting that savings, but you're not getting a full-time 24/7 employee. What you're getting is your brand will be a presence 24/7, 5 times a year, but it's not exclusively. Right. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to be exclusively that. And I think that's a hard thing for some brands as well, to be like, I'm going to go this co-op, like, portfolio route, but know that the output might not be the same as it would. Now, on the flip side, there's a ton of savings because people like you and I, with our history, we can start day one. We can sign that contract at 9 a.m. and by 9:30, we can be calling prospects.
Yep.
And that's the thing that is undervalued in all this. There's no tuition bill. There's no roll up. There's no onboarding with stuff that we do.
Yeah, I don't need a 30-day training course. I don't need HR. I don't need your insurance.
Yeah. Send me your sell sheets and I'm good.
Yeah. Tell me who we're dealing with. Give me an email address and let's call it. Yeah. Let me in and we're good. I'll have you in deep conversations by the end of the week.
What states are you currently working with or prospecting and stuff like that?
So like I've always been Colorado based, but like right now I'm trying to work with the Western United States for the agave based spirits, because that's where the market is, right? Fish where the fish are. Then the THC based stuff, I got to work where it's legal, where it can go. And then things are changing daily, really, on that front. Yeah. So I feel like I have to update my list of where it's okay and where it's not every day. And then I'm working with some East Coast distributors right now, trying to get some gin over here from Armenia, which I spent a lot of time in Georgia growing up, but okay. So I know the Southeast pretty well, but I don't know the Northeast. So I'm getting to know some of the distributors and stuff up there. And I know I've got a short list of people I want to work with up there. But yeah, so I'm not really working in California right now, which is crazy. I know that's the biggest agave state, but it's also the hardest to get into, most competition. And quite honestly, probably too much work for just solo me.
It is definitely. I was out there during COVID doing remote work and stuff like that, and as a solo person, it was a lot in California.
Yeah,
like it was a little. I had to be humble in that one and be like, I think this is more than you need a team. Yeah, you know what I mean, like, and a full-time team, not a portfolio team. Like you have to be exclusive with a mature market like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, really, like, your best bet is to be from there. Mm-hmm. To have local connections, to have a full team. I mean, if you're based out of Louisiana and you're bringing a new agave spirit to California, like, you better be prepared to hire 6 people, right? Like, good luck. You're not launching anything in California with a phone call or a Zoom meeting. Like, you have to do it. Yeah,
and there's certain states and markets that are like that, and I think it's underappreciated as well. Like, we were doing work in Chicago, and I had that same problem. Like, if you're not from Chicago and you're calling from Pennsylvania, nobody wants to talk to you.
Yeah, I can see Texas, Chicago being real territorial like that. Yeah,
there's California, Texas, West Virginia. There's certain states that are like, if you don't have that driver's license in your wallet, they don't want to hear anything you have to say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and New York City too.
That's another weird one.
Yeah.
So how old's your child?
He's 12 now.
Nice, man. I got 4 between 11 and 20. So it's being a parent in this industry is pretty wild. And if he's 12, he's been through a good run of seeing the evolution as well from the outside.
Before he was 1, he'd been in more brew pubs than any 21-year-old. So yeah, he was raised in the industry for sure.
I got some pictures of my kids crawling around the Miller Lite pallets and stuff like that in the warehouses and everything like that. There, that's some good stuff there.
I've got I've got pictures of my baby being held by some pretty big wigs up in the craft beer scene.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I'll bust him out at Christmas sometimes. I'll send them to him for a Christmas card. You're like, remember when you held my baby?
Well, let's talk a little bit about kind of when you're going through this. Let's talk about the future. You know what I mean? Like right now, you're a couple months in, and you're grinding and prospecting like crazy. I'm sure you're having tons of discovery meetings. What are kind of some of the goals as far as how when things kind of settle into where you want to go with everything? What are some of the goals there?
You know, man, I was thinking about this, and like when I was doing the CRM pipeline stuff, and I was really looking at the AI automations and trying to figure out how to and that's still a service I will offer. I still will go into your back office, figure out what we can automate it for you and hand it off. That is something I will definitely offer. But, like when I first started, I was thinking I could get enough people that on retainer that I could just sit back and relax. Right. But now that it's kind of evolved into this more consulting and, helping grassroots. And I'm thinking I want to be the name, you got the Pipeline Autopsy approval, like I want to be the go-to, the trusted name in the business. Like, hey man, this guy will help you out. He doesn't charge an arm and a leg. He knows everybody and he'll get you going. Like I kind of just want to be the trusted name.
That's good, man. That's exactly the way to go. And I want to, for anybody listening and stuff like that, we have 60% of our audience is founders and owners and senior leaders in the food and beverage industry. And I think that what you're saying is something that, I say it a lot, but I like to hear it from other people, is exactly that. Is if you want somebody that you can, like I said, you can sign the contract at 9 a.m. and be booking stuff by the end of the week. You don't find that anywhere else. And you find that after, it's not because you're smooth and it's not because you're a charmer. There's a lot of people in this industry that are that. Oh yeah, but it's very superficial and it's not sustainable. And 14 years in, and what you just said, even deeper than 14 years in, because if you go to your retail and your back of house experience, you have every tier understood, and that allows you to situationally manage things so quickly that it's the old adage of you ever heard that thing where guy walks in, he has a floorboard loose in his living room, and he calls a carpenter in to fix the floorboard, and the carpenter walks around the room, tapping here, tapping there, and then all of a sudden just takes one nail out of his pocket, pops it into the certain spot, and then hands an invoice to the guy for $1,200. And the guy goes, $1,200? You've been here for 6 minutes. He's like, you're not paying for my time. You're paying for the 30 years I knew how to listen and I knew where it was. He's like, that's what you're paying for. And that's what people like you and I have to show that. And we have to find a way to not be egotistical, but let people know that, I'm going to do shit fast, but that doesn't mean you pay me less. And it's one of those things, and that's a cautionary thing for you as well that I get into even 17 years in, where your speed sometimes can inhibit the perception of you from the brand standpoint, because if they're naive and new to the industry, they're thinking hourly wages. They're not thinking skill sets and value.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, you pretty much have to productize your service because, when you've got decades in the industry and you've got the contacts and you've got the experience, you can act so much faster and you can get things done so much faster. So 90 days with me, I could probably get more done than a new hire in a year. Right.
Yep.
So yeah, I am humble in the fact, I have to look up, I use all the different AIs or whatever to see what the fair market value is for my services. And I'm still like, that just feels like so much, but really, I mean, it is a value to these people, and not having to onboard and not having to jump through all the hoops and not having a long-term, debt or bill that they have to pay, and being able to get the things done quickly and efficiently. It is worth it. But it's one of those things is you start off on your own, you're like, God, that seems like a lot to charge for what I do. But I try to keep my prices on the lower end of what I, see out there. obviously it's scoped, right? if I'm launching multiple states and I'm spending a ton of time every week, then yeah, it gets up there. But
yeah, there's some when things don't work and like buyers don't participate and you have to do a lot of outreach, it does suck at the end of the month and you're like, that brand, that was just minimum wage work.
Yeah.
If you really get into the ones where the buyer's a little dodgy or whatever you need to do there. So you got to hit those home runs and dingers as soon as you can to make up for the other ones.
100%. And I mean, seriously, like I do a couple hours of work before I even get on a call. I know more about your brand than probably half your retailers do by the time we even get on a call. So, I like to know what I'm talking about a little bit. But yeah, so like, that's the kind of work I like to put into it too. I fully like to research. My name means everything, right? That's all I really have is like my reputation, my name. So I go full pride. And if it doesn't work out, I gave it 100%. And I'm just as fucking bummed as you are. Excuse my language.
No, you're good, man.
Because failure is not something I take lightly, easily. And yeah, I take great pride in what I do. So, I
appreciate you saying that too, man, because there's a lot of times where it doesn't work all the time. Yeah. And like brands will come in and they're like, oh, I'm going to go with this. He's so experienced, blah, blah, blah. And then when it doesn't work out, it's the finger pointing. And I don't say this in a defensive way, but I think a lot of people need to kind of grasp too the safety net of the fact that sometimes it's not going to work. Like the overall might work, but certain markets just might not work. And certain states might not just work. But that's not to devalue the R&D is what I call it, that got us to the point to realize it doesn't work.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's where there's a value in that too. There's a value in knowing what you don't know.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm looking forward to. I'll wrap up on this one here, but I want to bring you in for we're going to do some roundtables and things like that. So I'll let you know and bring that through and want to bring you in. We'll bring a brand in and want to talk about everything as far as that goes. But last thing I want to kind of ask you before we close out is, like, in the past few months since you started everything, has there anything that's kind of popped off in a lesson for anybody where you're like, whoa, I didn't think about that?
I think almost everything about it has caught me by surprise.
Thanks for the fair. Yeah, it's an honest answer.
Yeah, I mean, like my background is alcohol bev, right? Craft beer and spirits, a little bit of wine, chain wine. So that's kind of where I was starting off, and then all of a sudden I'm saying stuff or I'm posting something that is catching the THC brand, catching their attention or whatever. So and then the one deal that I've closed, that I went into that call not thinking that I after I did some research on them, I was like, they're not ready for me. Like, there's not much I can do for them. And it was quite the opposite. So I guess like not letting your expectations get in the way is what a lesson I would say to somebody new. Expectations are cloudy, they can really, so I don't know. For me, it's almost like I get luckier when I don't expect anything to work out, right? Yes. Like when I go in with, I'm going to get this, and then it kind of fizzles or it stalls, it's a crusher. But when you go in and you're like, this is just going to be another conversation, and then it works out, that feeling is like, oh my God. And then maybe you're carrying a little confidence when you go in, not expecting it to work out. You have a little more about you, swagger, whatever. I don't know. Yeah. So I would say, limit your expectations, go in it with your heart. And then, be real. Like you said, there's a lot of that fake bullshit. And, you've been in the industry long enough. I've been in it. I can spot that shit before I even walk in the door. I can smell it. Like, I know what the perfume is, I'm a genuine person, and I want to work with genuine companies with genuine ingredients and genuine practices, and treat their employees right and treat the planet right. And, just have some passion for it, I guess.
That's a great response. And also I'll add to that is, like, don't believe what's in your own head.
Yeah.
And like I reach out, I shoot my shot even to this day. I'm shooting my shot every day, every week. I'm prospecting, I'm cold emailing people, I'm cold calling people. And it's one of those things where there's been multiple times of that same thing where I'm like, maybe they're too small, maybe they're too big, maybe they're not gonna be interested in me. And I might not say something to them for 3 months. And then all of a sudden one day I'll be like, you know what, fuck it, I'll send that email. And I send that email out, and then all of a sudden, they're in like Flynn, and we're ready to rock and roll, and it's like one of those take backs, and that's happened multiple times. So I want to piggyback and say that everybody needs to understand that you don't know anything.
Yeah.
You don't
100%.
know anything. Like, you don't know anything from their social media. You don't know anything from their website until you sit down with them, or Google Meet or Zoom or whatever, and spend 20, 30 minutes getting to know them. That's when you can start making judgment.
Yep.
And even then, it's confusing sometimes.
Yeah. The couple of companies I'm working for are way bigger than I would have gone out for. And then, like I said, the small guy where I didn't think he was ready for me and whatever, he's much bigger than I thought. And there was no research on the internet on that. So you're right. Yeah. I think researching is always a good thing, but until you actually talk to the person, you have no idea.
I think it's the funniest thing is during the day with Free Mind Strategy, I'm researching like crazy. And then this show is like this organic conversation. So it's really fun to do the duality of my life, where this one I'll send an email or whatever, and like we book, but we don't talk. There's no questions in front of me right now. Like, we're just having a raw conversation.
Yeah.
So it's funny to like how I kind of have to flip my switch every other hour. It's like, which phone call is this? Am I prepping, or am I going cold to show the world how to connect with a stranger? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you're doing a great job, man. I didn't know what, this is actually my second podcast now. So I came in it a little less nervous, but you're great. You're
doing fantastic, man. And it's one of those things where keep doing it, because I've learned really quickly, and I just started doing other people's shows in the past 2 months. Keep booking on other people's shows. Like,
Okay.
keep doing it. It is an unbelievable lead generation for it. I started this 4 years ago in my basement, and I've never I'm still using just my phone on a little tripod and everything. I don't do studio work or anything like that. I've done them in the side of the car or side of the road on the turnpike while tractor trailers are whizzing by in a field. I don't care. You know what I mean? It's because the story is what's important. It's
Right.
not about the production value. It's not about, for some people it is from a vanity standpoint, and some people like that, symmetry and the cleanness of it. But I'm a raw guy. I've been running this business for myself, and so it's very similar to what you're doing. And you have a different mentality when everything falls on you.
Yeah.
And that mentality is different. Like, I know like what is my capacity, and it's like, what can I do within myself to produce this and scale this and make this a controllable thing.
Yeah.
And it's a big thing for me, like in my sobriety of the past 3.5 years, controlling what I can control is my number one thing. So I scale things to what is controllable. And when it comes to production, people are like, oh, you got a low quality audio or video and audio. And I'm like, no, it's raw.
Yeah.
If real. I didn't ask him to repeat that statement. I didn't go back and say, oh, that sounded good. Could you say that more into the mic now? It's
Right.
like everything that I'm putting out is a real conversation, and that's the truth. And I don't care if it's blurry or whatever, but it is what it is, man.
That's awesome. And I'm glad you said that, because those are the brands I want to work with. The rough, the raw, the real. Those are the brands I want. So
exactly. We're gonna curse. We're gonna call you out, but we're still gonna be there and locked arms with you. And it's because that exactly. And I think that's, for me, it's like I was a rugby player, a wrestler, and things like that. And that's where it started. It started in that it's all on you. Especially in wrestling, it's like you can walk out there in the middle of the ring. If you lost the match, you lost the match. You can't point fingers at anybody else. And I enjoy working with people that the outside world sometimes says we're a little gruff, but I think we're just real.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're not afraid to say the shit when it needs to be said in an intentional and positive way, to be like, hey, you need to hear this and you need to be checked. And this is how we can fix this or whatever,
Yeah, absolutely. And we're all grown-ups in the booze biz, right? Yeah. So you can't have thin skin. And if you're in sales at all whatsoever, you better not have any thin skin.
I think I did for the first 10 years, and the last 7 got real raw.
Yeah. I remember the first little bit was like, holy shit, people are mean. But it's not personal, it's business.
No, and it's you go out on a couple cold calls, you'll realize quick that the kumbaya of the industry doesn't exist.
No. When you see it, you're seeing a highlight reel. You're not.
Yeah.
It's
You
not
walk into a high food, high traffic bar at 12:45 and try to sell something that'll get you woke up.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Shoot, try sending out 100 cold emails a day, man.
Yeah.
Not getting a response. Like, geez.
I was telling the other day with somebody that like until HubSpot started tracking all the clicks and everything like that on the emails,
Yeah.
it was so defeating because I do 700 to 800 cold emails a week, like to prospects, and so, none of it's automated because I honor the the laws and everything like that. So I copy paste. I put my strategy is I learned from Gary Vee. He was just like throw a movie on and do your outreach. And he's like, the outreach would be that much easier. So now I tell people, like, they're like, what do you do? I was like, I watch a lot of movies. But really, I'm sitting there just hitting my databases and doing what needs to be done. But keep doing that, man. Like, hundreds of emails, even if it's 1,000 a week, that's what has to happen. And people don't realize that, like, you're not going to send out 25 emails and land a sale.
Right.
You're going to send 100 emails and land a sale. You're going to send 200 emails and land 5. And that's where it goes through. And on the flip side, you're also prospecting brands. And also in the solopreneur world, you're prospecting brands at the same time you're selling the current brands. Because one of the things the current brands don't realize is some of your time has to be allocated to when they depart.
Yeah.
Because that was a hard thing. In the first 10 years I did this, I wasn't expecting departures. I figured everybody's going to stay with me forever, and we're gonna be like the same thing in distribution. And then nothing bad or anything like that. But you're right. 3, 6, 9 months, 12 months, brand's going to probably change things up a little bit. Or they're going to be, or you did a good job to where they've outgrew you, and that's a compliment. And that's the hard part too. Is that's the compliment. Exactly.
My goal is to get the company to the point where they can afford the full-time hire.
And that's the thing. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you reacted that way because I wish every brand would understand that our role, we know we are the bridge and we're the shoulders to get you higher. We're not the higher ones, nor do we want to be because we're a necessity of the bridge.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the lane I want to stay in. I don't want to go back to the top.
No,
I don't want to be that VP in the office anymore. I want to be the bridge. I want to be the helper. I want to be that crutch that got that person over the hill, and then move on to the next one, and then cheer on their success as they go.
Exactly. Well, Alex, I appreciate you taking the time, man, and I'll let you kind of close out any social medias or LinkedIn or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, check me out on LinkedIn. It's Alex Kllanxhja, the 2 L's and an X in there. Pipeline Autopsy. I don't do much with that page, but I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, X, pipelineautopsy.com. hello@pipelineautopsy.com is my email if you want to reach out. So, yeah, I appreciate your time, Nate. This was awesome.
Awesome, Alex. Well, hey, and publicly, I do have to say to everybody, there's no script, there's no agenda, there's no questions up on my screen. What you just saw was 2 strangers connecting in the past 45, 48 minutes or anything like that. So really, I want everybody to understand that while we talk about adult beverages, the most important thing that we do is we want you to understand that you can connect with a stranger. And I want people to get out there, and I'll close with what I always do, which is when you're walking down the street, say hi to a stranger, put your phone in your pocket, make eye contact with people. When you're at the gas station, filling up that cup of coffee, look to the person next to you, filling up their cup, ask them how they're doing, and actually listen to see what they say and care and respond. Because this world is a beautifully destructive place, and we are all in this together. And a lot of us feel very alone at different times. And a 2-minute conversation with a stranger at a gas station, who knows what's going on in their life? It could change their week or their month or their year. So, Alex, thank you for having the courage and the cojones to come on, man, and with no script and no agenda, and just tell your story, man. Tell your story from a true and authentic place. And I really appreciate it. And I hope that this kind of gets your story out there and allows people to reach out and connect with you, man.
I really appreciate it, Nate. That's awesome, man. Thank you. And I would love to chat again, man. And I'd also like to get around some, strategies and tips and tricks that you have for me. So.
Oh yeah, we'll be doing some offline stuff there for sure. I'll send you an email. We'll set up another meeting for that, buddy.
Right on. I appreciate it, Nate.
Awesome, man. You have a good rest of your day, bud.
Cheers, man. Thank you.